Radio Row from Los Angeles. A bit chilly this morning, but I'm used to those East Coast things, and I'm bringing in an old friend of mine who used to be on the East Coast. I'm not sure where he's living these days, but it's awesome that we have to come here to see each other. Just 2 feet away, actually. But Trey Wingo, former legendary ESPN anchor, and now currently working for Caesars. I mean, what an amazing transformation for you. Just when us old guys think we're not going to see anymore, we're getting too much of you now.
That's probably true, and I apologize for everybody getting too much of me. But, Dave, it's always good to see you, my buddy.
And, tell us a little bit about this, because there's so many different things that we can do with Caesars that a lot of the other sites aren't offering. And, I've learned in the last couple of months with you and Kenny dealing with this and our mutual friend JB Smooth that, this is a big thing, and you guys really are getting a lot of people involved.
Well, it is. It's great. Like, the thing about sports betting, which is fun for me, is like we're in the top of the first inning of this. Like, it's just beginning. So we're sort of having the ability to create this as we go along, and that's really fun. And the idea of working with Kenny and JB and working with the Mannings has always been great. But we always used to have to sort of play around the idea of sports betting before. Like on NFL Live, if we were doing win totals for the year, we had to say more than or less than, because over under was a betting term. You couldn't say, and you couldn't say the team name. You couldn't say the Falcons. You had to say Atlanta. All these little dances we had to get around it. That's all out the window now. It's all open in front of us, and I think that's actually refreshing, because the line exists for a reason. That's why we do the injury reports, and it actually is a safeguard, because if you didn't have the injury reports come out, somebody might have inside information about somebody's really hurt or they're not going to be able to play, and then it wouldn't be available. And so the idea of inside information and sort of cornering a market on something becomes a problem. So that's why it's good to have it all out there in the open, and we can just talk about it like everyone talks about it in real life. And
you guys actually have some real cool individual type things. I'm looking at here. There's like some Kenny Mayne bets and stuff like that you guys have, and the prop bets and stuff like that. I mean, my 18-year-old son is utilizing these things by using dad's social security number, and he's been doing quite well. So it's really is funny to see. The thing I worry about, and I don't know if you've thought about this because it's not a slam, but is you think there's a chance that the youth though are going to become so addicted to this that there's going to be some sort of problem in a couple of years?
Well, listen, I think that in any situation you have to, first of all, youths are not allowed to bet. So, I mean, that's not supposed to be betting. I mean, rule number one. But like anything else in society, in moderation, I mean, we could talk about beer. We could talk about smoking. We could talk about fast foods, all that kind of stuff. Just take things in moderation and know your limits. And I think that this is an industry that's been around for a while. And quite frankly, now that it's more open and out there, it's way more easy to be regulated and taken care of to make sure those safe controls are in place.
And that's why I know you wouldn't associate yourself with anything but the best. And it's been great to see you. Is there a secret Super Bowl commercial that we should be waiting for or anything like that?
I'm not at liberty to say those kind of things, but yeah, there's some.
What's the over-under on that?
Pretty solid. But there's some great prop bets out here. Like one of my favorites isn't on the sheet. Well, it might be on the sheet. Let me check. Where's the safety? The safety's not on here. We haven't had a safety in a Super Bowl since Super Bowl 48. That was the first play from scrimmage. Broncos snapped it over Peyton's head. No Sean Moreno covered in the end zone, and the Broncos never recovered. This is the longest stretch in Super Bowl history we haven't had a safety. So if you want to talk about something that's due and it's plus 800, low risk, high reward, keeps you sort of energized in the game, whether or not your team's winning or it's a blowout. Those are the kind of things that sort of keep everybody invested, and that's a lot of fun.
And is there any of those weird bets, the longest national anthem or anything like that? Or is it strictly sports?
No, it's all of those things. Like every Super Bowl Sunday, the biggest bet is on the coin toss. Like that's the most bet 2 seconds.
Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco joining us.
You owe me a phone call. You bet you owe me a phone call. All right. He just gave me his pager number. I don't think that's real.
Yeah. I'll fax you later. He won't fax you later, too.
He said he'll Pony Express me some information. I'm not sure I believe him.
Is he looking to make a comeback or USFL or something like that, do you think?
Well, Chad, like T.O., never officially retired.
Right.
They never officially retired.
Yeah, he, Larry Fitzgerald, we got a whole team out there.
We had T.O. on the podcast. Like, I'm not retired. I'm like, yeah, they retired you, bro. Like, you didn't retire. They retired you.
Well, speaking of being retired, and we all went through it, great career at ESPN.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't bash him. It was a great time. Things changed. Life moves on. But what are your fondest memories of being a part of what was the worldwide leader in sports?
Interesting phrasing, Dave.
I can't get fired here.
No. Listen, look, for me, it was just the people that I worked with. Like the guys that I worked with forever. Like there's three kinds of people that you work with, right? They're your coworkers, they're your friends, then there's your boys. And boys, I mean, women are included, like your tight friends. So all of my tight friends from ESPN are still my friends. Darren Woodson was just hanging out with him. Ryan Clark, just talked to him. I still talk to Schlereth every day. Talk to Golick all the time. Chris McKendry, talk to her all the time. So all those people that I hung out with, like Tim Hasselbeck and Darren Woodson, Damian Woody, all those guys, we all still hang out. We all still keep in touch. We do things together socially. Herm Edwards, I was talking to him yesterday. So that's the beauty of it. The friendships remain, even though we're all in different places. And that's when you know things are good. And all those people that I had so much fun with and worked with for all those years, we're still friends. Teddy Bruschi, same way. Talked to him the other day.
And you've also got a podcast. Let's get that in there.
Yeah, Half Forgotten History. Trying to get Chad. Instead of kissing me, I wish he'd just come on the show. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. It's also on my YouTube page, Trey Wingo Presents. The whole point of it is we spent so much time together in places like ESPN in the green room or in the cafeteria or on the road here at the Super Bowl out to dinner. And you hear all these great stories, and they never made the air. Well, I'm making them on the air now. Like, that's the whole point of this. These little tidbits that nobody knew about. Like, for example, Takeo Spikes. I had one with Takeo the other day. And he was named after a former Japanese prime minister. And, he told that story because Takeo means strength and honor and all that kind of stuff in the Japanese language. So, those are the kind of, like, little things. We did the episode with Damian Woody. And that was when Terry Glenn in 2001 was holding out for a contract, and they transitioned from Bledsoe to Brady. And Damian was at practice, and he said one day Terry Glenn stood up on the hill over the practice field at Foxborough, and he was away from the team. He wasn't practicing because he was holding out. He just stood there on the top of the hill for the entire practice screaming, "I want my money! I want my money!" for the entire 2-hour practice. And those are the stories that nobody ever hears about, and they're great. And that's what makes the podcast a lot of fun.
Well, make sure you tune in. I'm so glad, Trey. I know you got to get going, but where can people place their bets again?
Yeah, at Caesar Sportsbook. And you can find out. We got a bunch of stuff coming out on my social channels, my Twitter feed at Wingo's, Instagram, Trey.Wingo, and all the Caesar Sportsbook.
Do you want
channels.
Josh Allen on your show? Hey, Josh, Trey Wingo needs you to be on his show.
Best tweet ever.
I need you to be on my show. I need you to be on my show, brother.
By the way, real quickly, Josh Allen, when the Chiefs won the coin toss again in overtime against the Bengals, he just tweeted out one word: pain. Greatest tweet ever. Greatest tweet ever.
Yeah. And I think the NFL really needs to start addressing a couple of the overtime rules and fix it, because
I don't disagree with you, but the Bengals just proved you can't play defense and win. I mean, they went 3 and out with an interception, and then they scored. So
yeah, but do you think if the Bills had a chance to get that ball back in overtime,
probably
we'd still be playing?
That game might still be going on. It's still but the way to fix that, don't allow them to score with 13 seconds left.
That's
play
true.
Defense.
That was probably, the only thing that might have been more dire was the Vikings against the Saints or the Immaculate Reception. I mean, you just don't get those opportunities. So Trey's got to go, but I'm Dave Stevens here. Kenny Mayne will hopefully pop in a little. We were supposed to have you guys together.
Where's Wheelock? We'll get Wheelock on here somewhere. That's his middle name, Kenneth Wheelock Mayne. Now you know.
He's locking it in.
There you go.
All right.
On
Trey
the prop
Wingo,
sheet,
it is so good to see you again,
Dave,
my
always
friend.
a pleasure,
we always end up on the road together somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
this will happen again.
Marshall Falk walking by right there.
Marshall Falk didn't have a career. He didn't By the way, you want to talk about a guy who hit a golf ball? Marshall Falk annihilates a golf ball. He pounds it into dust.
We should just stay live because everybody in the whole NFL world is walking right. Yeah. This guy attracts winners at Caesar Sportsbooks, and all these winners are walking by. So thanks a lot, Trey. It's always great to see you. Continued success, and I'm so proud of you, man, because there is life after ESPN.
It's really good life.
All right.
I call it the happily ever after.
And if there was a commercial at the Super Bowl that you were in, would that be kind of like a dream come true? I mean, the ultimate for your career?
I think you will see it. So, yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
You heard it here first.
Potentially.
Okay. All right. Trey Wingo, Dave Stevens here on Radio Row. Warren Moon coming up hopefully in about 15 minutes. Continue to follow us on Ability Media. And, of course, Q30 doing great stuff. Their shows, if you haven't seen their stuff, we have students from Quinnipiac putting out better than most television stations. So, I'm Dave Stevens. I will see you in a bit. I'll try to get more ESPN people. You are watching Dave Stevens Live on Radio Row from Las Vegas.